Hey guys, it's Mark here with, what's this, part 5? I'm losing count. This is part 5. At the end of the last video, I talked about doing this video, talking about black victimhood. Now, as I said at the end of that video, many of us like to live in that constant state of victimhood. We believe that we do not have the ability to improve our circumstances. We believe that we are victims. We are perpetual victims. We can't help it. And liberals tend to tell us that as black people. You can't do for yourself. You're too weak to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You need us in your corner to help you. Because after all, it's white supremacy that's keeping you down. After all, it's institutionalized racism that's keeping you down. And there is no way you can pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. Now, was there a time in history when there was white supremacy in countries like America, the UK, even in Jamaica, when we were once a colony? Of course there was white supremacy, duh. Was there institutionalized racism? Of course. I know when I was growing up in Jamaica, I always heard about the institutionalized dark skin versus light skin scenario, where if you were of a lighter complexion, even if you were less qualified than someone, or they, whatever, just because of your lighter complexion, you would be given the jobs in places like banks or wherever. So we know that colorism, institutionalized racism has existed and maybe still exists. A friend of mine, she always tells me that I'm light-skinned. I'm like, light-skinned? I'm kind of brown. I'm in the middle somewhere. But at the end of the day, I'm still black. So I keep telling her. People don't see me as light-skinned, dark-skinned, whatever skin. I'm just a black guy. Right? My nose and lips certainly tell us that, and yeah. So anyway, that's a joke, yeah. Not saying that it's not true, but I'm being light-hearted and humorous. I do have the ability to joke, and my close friends and family will tell you that I'm quite the comedian. But we have this thing as black people where we see ourselves as victims. There's no way we can do any better. A family member of mine, maybe about 2 months ago, said to me, Mark, I just want you to know, and I'm paraphrasing, but I just want you to know that the white man will never see you as his equal. And I had to say to her, but I don't view myself through the eyes of anyone else but myself. When I wake up every morning and I look in the mirror, I see a black man and I see me. I don't view myself as some type of victim. I don't see myself as being less than white people or any other race, as a matter of fact. I don't see myself as being above any other race. And we can't deny that there is black privilege. Right? If I go to a nightclub today, walking there by myself as a black man, and I've been told that I'm handsome. I'm 6'2". I've been told that I'm a handsome guy. There is no shortage of women looking to get them some of this dark chocolate right here. Or milk chocolate, whatever you want to call it. But there's no shortage of women. Asian, white, Latino, whatever. I've never had any problems where that's concerned. We might as well call that black privilege. But we need to get out of that mindset that because of our color, this is what's holding us back. And I talked about how many videos ago, I talked about my black friends from Jamaica who went to America and became successful despite the so-called white supremacy and institutionalized racism. Right? I live in Japan, where about 98% of the population are Japanese. And out of that 2%, you have a big chunk of Chinese people who are also considered foreigners, who have been here for generations, but because they're not Japanese, even though they were born here, speak the language fluently, they're considered foreign, gaijin. And then you have people like myself, Brits, Australians, Americans, people from Southeast Asia and stuff sprinkled in there, small percentage wise, that make up the rest, make up that 2%. And you don't hear me screaming yellow supremacy. I'm working, Japanese people employ me, Japanese organizations employ me. I have my side business as well, but you don't see me screaming racism every 2 seconds. And I've actually experienced racism here in Japan. I've been called a slave. I remember turning up for a job interview at the end of my first year trying to change jobs in Japan. The company, the night before said, yeah, come in. Because all they heard is, hi, I'm Mark Campbell, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm from England, British passport, right? I have a Jamaican passport too. But, I'm looking for a job. Come in, we've got loads of jobs. That's the evening before. They said, come in tomorrow morning, evening before. Turn up at the interview with my black ass. Oh, I'm sorry, but all the vacancies have been filled. Ras. So from last night, less than 24 hours to now, all vacancies have been filled. Grabbed my CV and folder, put them in my bag. I got up, I said, thank you very much for your time, and I walked out. So I know what racism is, man, but I can't live my life as a victim, and black people need to stop this crap. When I moved back to Jamaica, to England, in the early 90s, my dad was there with me that summer of 1991. My mom and I went over to London first. My dad was finishing off some stuff with his business, and then he joined us like a week or two after. And then my mom left before my dad. They didn't leave together, but they left. My mom left a little bit before my dad to do whatever. So my dad and I went out sightseeing one day around London. He was taking me around. He was showing me how to get around on the underground and all that stuff. And we did Madame Tussauds, we did Trafalgar Square, Piccadilly Circus. We went to the Tower of London, Tower Bridge there. We did a whole bunch of sightseeing. We didn't go to Buckingham Palace, but we did a whole bunch of sightseeing. And as we're going around, my dad was telling me about his days, his time back in the day when he moved to London in the 60s, early 60s or whatever. And he was telling me about how that was for him, and it was a different time. He was talking about the racism, the real racism that he experienced. When my dad would see signs like no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, when he and his brothers, like 4 brothers, they all slept in a double bed in one room in a house they shared with a whole bunch of people. Talking about some real dire times when times were hard, but he and his brothers were close, and they all saved up money together so that everyone could eventually buy their own home, right? Those days in England, when the real outward racism was just there. No blacks, no Irish, no dogs. We're talking about And during that time when my dad and I walked around doing our sightseeing, okay, I just want to make sure I have enough time on this video. The camera cuts off after 20 minutes for some reason. But during that time, my dad said to me, look, Mark, you're living in a different time now compared, this is 30 years after or so, after he had moved to England. You're living in a different time. You are black, yes, but you were born in England, you're a British citizen, you have a British passport, and you are afforded every right as the white man here. Yes, you may have to work a little bit harder to prove yourself, but every opportunity is here. And don't for a minute come here, start thinking like a lot of these black people do, talking about white man this and white man that. Right? Don't see yourself as, I can't remember my dad using the word victim, but don't see yourself as someone who can't become successful here. And those words have never left me with what that my dad told me. And I carried this through now, even now to my 40s. I am personally responsible for my demise or my success. I accept 100% full responsibility for my outcome. Now, I'm not saying that I can't get lucky along the way, and I'm not saying that I can't have some people looking out for me. And during my life, I've had many people look out for me. And crazy thing is, a lot of the people who have looked out for me, and I know many people who are black can agree with me when I say this. A lot of the people who have looked out for me, and maybe even some of you, are white people. Those evil white people. You see, even though when I was growing up in Jamaica, my dad talked about his experiences as a black man growing up. Or he went to England, when he was about the same age I went. When I was about 17, that's when he went to England, right? And he talked about the racial, things and all that stuff, all the experiences he had. But he had white friends over the years, people. I remember my dad saying that people would ask him questions like, so, many people thought that Jamaica was in Africa, and like, oh, do you live in a tree? That kind of ignorant crap. And they'd say to my dad, oh, we can't understand what you're saying with your Jamaican accent. And my dad, with his patois, was just like, me can't understand what you are saying. You have to understand me. That kind of thing. So my dad went through it, but he planted that seed that I shouldn't see myself as a victim, and I go through the rest of my life. And I have family members, black family members, who push this whole white people are evil narrative. Even though in our family, you can tell by my complexion, that we have white people in our family. I'm not talking about massa raped my great-great-great-grandmother, and that has led to the dilution of the black blood and all that stuff. No. We're talking about Scottish white men who went to America, fell in love with black women and got married, and we are the result, the Campbells, right? We're not talking about any slave master racism, and we need to all stop that too, like making out like Massa. Not saying that Massa wasn't raping some women, but Massa wasn't raping every slave. Yes? Some slaves, or after slavery or whatever, there were marriages, like real legitimate unions, marriage. I want to be in this, you want to be in this, let's get married, I love you. But, I have some family members, like, that's luckily a small minority, who are always pushing to me about the evil white man. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? We have white people in our family going back through the generations. We have white people in our family now. Right? What are you talking about? You're telling me that I must hate them? Why? Because you're unhappy with how your circumstances have turned out? And without going into too much detail about a certain time in my life, which I call my Cinderella years. My first 2 years in London, I call them my Cinderella years because I always joke. I say, Cinderella ain't got shit on me. I call them my Cinderella years. But during that time, those first 2 years of mine in London, when I returned to London, if it weren't for some of these so-called evil white people, I don't know where I'd be right now. Because it was those so-called evil white people who had my back the most. I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm telling you, those evil white people were the people who fed me and who looked out for me. They were so evil that when I walked into their homes, I referred to their mothers as mom. Because no matter what, if I turned up at their house, and most times eventually, right, and one Trinidadian family, Indian background, they had my back as well, right? But if these people are so near and dear to me to this day, we've been friends for over 20 years, and I'd fall on a grenade for my boys because they had my back more than my family. And you're telling me that I must hate people because of their color? I'm sorry, but I reject that idea. These people have my back. They've had my back from day one. And I always say that, when that time comes, when my time to become successful arrives, and if you want to help me on that process, by the way, you can buy my workout program that comes with my nutrition program. But I always said that if I become successful, I want to pay for every last one of them, all expense paid trip to Jamaica. Everything. They don't even need to dip in their pocket once, not even for a patty. Because that's how much I love these people who have looked out for me. White people. Indian people. Right? I'm not saying I don't have black friends who have had my back, of course. I'm not saying I don't have black family who have had my back, of course. But the idea that I've got to hate because you hate, no. I'm smarter than that. I'm more logical thinking than that. I think in a more practical way. There's no way I'm going to embrace that type of ignorance. And that's what it is, ignorance. Love your fellow man. Hang out with people who are smarter than you. Hang out with people who know more than you. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. There's some people, black people. I remember one friend of mine, she said to me, a couple friends, female friends in particular, female black friends. I don't have any white friends. Now, why would you limit yourself like that? If I didn't have those friends, I wouldn't have learned so many things about different cultures, different foods. The idea of traveling and learning more. Those ideas would if I stayed in my little, black bubble. If I stayed in that little black bubble, I don't know where I'd be today. If I stayed in that black bubble where I see things like snowboarding or ice skating or doing a parachute jump as white people shit. If I stayed in that bubble of ignorance, my mind would not have been opened and my eyes to so many different things. The world is a wonderful place with all these different cultures that we can learn from, right? And we have to stop this thing about being victims and trying to paint everyone as racist. You see, during slavery, which I didn't know for years, growing up when you're a kid, you watch TV shows like Roots and you think, wow, these white people did some evil stuff to us, but we won't accept the truth that a lot of times black people were sold into slavery by their own black people because they were captured through tribal wars and whatnot. No, that's not the narrative I want to hear. I want to hear that I was just, Kunta Kinte was just hanging out in the jungle, whatever, and the evil white man just pulled up on the shore and just started rounding black people up in this unfamiliar terrain. It makes no sense, right? That's not how it went down. Everyone talks about white Europeans and how evil they are. No one wants to address the thousands of years of the enslavement of Africans by Arabs. 2018, Libya, still going on now. Where's your outrage? No, Mark, that's not happening. Because that doesn't fit the narrative that you're being fed. It always perplexes me when I see white people in particular, like liberals, up in arms about white supremacy or white privilege and all this stuff. Because I'm like, you're being disingenuous. Because let's keep it real. If black people were at the top of the totem pole, not saying that we would necessarily be oppressing people, but if we were in a situation where, man, financially we are great, our communities are great, and all this stuff, you think I'd be crying, black privilege is a terrible thing? I'd be enjoying that black privilege. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I don't wanna take away black white privilege if it really exists. What I wanna do is pull up me and my other black people. But we can't get together. We can't organize. You know, I do a fitness program, right? Tremor Workout. TremorWorkout.com. Cheap plug, yeah. Sue me. But I do a workout program. There is a guy I used to go to school with. We used to go to high school. He was like a year ahead of me. We didn't know each other well, but you know how it is. You connect through social media. So we connected through Facebook. He runs a gym in America. And I said to him, yo man, I have a workout program and I have a nutrition program. So he's got them covered, his clients, with the workouts, right? I said to him, yo man, you have a gym, you have your clients. Let me make this proposal to you. Why don't you point your clients in the direction of my website, and for all of your clients who buy my nutrition program, I'll give you 50% of profits after my expenses for each sale. Now, all he had to do, I'm sure he has email to all his clients, he could send one email to all his clients and simply say, hey, a good friend of mine, we're not the best of friends, but he could just say that, right? I mean, that's what we do. A good friend of mine is looking for a job. A good friend of mine, whatever. He could say, hey, a good friend of mine has this really good nutrition program. Hang on a second, I think this battery's about to die. Let me stop before. Sorry about that. So he could say to his clients, hey, a good friend of mine has a really good nutrition program, and it is really good, my Diet 180, to help you to understand how to change your lifestyle and clean up your diet and lose weight, right? Because we all know that diet is more important than exercise when it comes to actually losing weight. It's been proven time and time again. I said to him, I'll give you 50% of sales. All he has to do is just tell his clients about me. And he's like, let me think about it. I'm like, what's there to think about, dude? Right? But the truth is, he, despite maybe only having to send out an email, he resents the idea that I would make some money, even though he would make some money. But we have this crab in a barrel mentality, black people. We don't like seeing each other become successful. We try our best to pull each other down. White people can do it. Oh, Asian people can do it. Jewish people can do it. Latino people can do it. They all pool their money together. They pool their resources. They do things, and you see how they do it politically when they organize. They can all do it except for us. Because we all have this kind of built-in self-destructive self-hatred, where even seeing our fellow black man becoming successful pisses us off, even if we can grow with that person. Because what did he have to lose? Nothing. An email, a few lines in an email, and a link to a website. That's all he had to invest. I wasn't asking him for any money. But we can't organize. Right? Black people couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery. Right? It's sad. But what do? Or what do some of you do? You play the victim. It's the white man. The white man's the root of all our problems. I'm not saying that the white man, in particular white liberals, haven't had some influence on our present situation, but it doesn't mean that the situation has to always be the same. It's no different from the overweight person who says, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm going to drop my excuses and I'm going to do something about my weight. I'm going to acquire knowledge and I'm going to take action and I'm going to lose the weight. The overweight person doesn't need to continue to be overweight because they have the power to change their circumstance. Just like black people, we on a whole have the ability to change our circumstances, right? We don't always have to be broke ass poor. We don't always have to have messed up communities. We don't always have to have these communities crime ridden. We have the power to change. And that's why we need to keep our leaders accountable. I mean, if I'm to look at America, these so-called black leaders are a joke, right? The Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons. There was one guy I follow on YouTube, David Carroll, he calls him Messi Jackson and Al Charlatan. These types. You know, I'd even go as far as to say Barack Obama. And I know some people are going to be pissed off because I'm shining light on our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama. The return of God's Son, Barack Obama, who walks on water, can do no wrong. But I always ask the question, Barack Obama, his city where he was based, Chicago, has some of the highest rates of murder in the entire country. I was watching something it's quite a while now, maybe like a year ago when I think about it. They were saying that if America is the fourth most violent country in the world, Tommy Sotomayor was talking about this. Very controversial dude, but I can relate to a lot of what Tommy Sotomayor talks about. And I know Tommy Sotomayor doesn't like when people mention his name. Don't mention my name in videos. You're doing it for views. Tommy, I'm not using your name for views. I got bigger fish to fry, mate. But he was talking about this stat that shows that America is the fourth most violent country in the world. But if you remove like a few of those cities that has a big black population, the Detroits, the Chicagos, maybe the Atlanta, etc., those type of places. If you remove those cities from the stats, America drops to fourth, at the bottom of the list. So where they would have been top 4, they're now bottom 4. It's crazy. But until we address these social issues, and what I was talking about Barack Obama, he didn't do a damn thing. When he could have reached out to these people, when he could have set things in place to have these places more policed more or create opportunities for black people. Now I know you're saying, oh, but he's the president of America, not black America. He did a whole bunch for other groups, except blacks who voted for him 90-something%. Because you see, Barack Obama and the Democrats, they always know that the black vote is safe, right? The black vote is always safe because we just go in there and vote regardless of what we're being told, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of what the stats are telling us. We're just like, right, the Republicans are racists, because, that's the go-to for Democrats. So because they're racist, we have to vote for the Democrats because they have our best interests at heart, when they prove time and time again that they don't for black Americans. And I know I keep talking about black Americans, but you see, the reason why I talk about black Americans, because we have to get to the source. We don't deal with symptoms, Because you see, when more black Americans start waking up, more black Jamaicans will start waking up. More black Brits will start waking up. More Africans will start waking up to the realities of this so-called oppression that they're under. I don't feel oppressed. I'm not a rich man, but I'm able to support myself, and I honestly do not feel oppressed. In my mind, because of my mindset, I do not feel oppressed in the slightest. I'm trying to become successful. I work my ass off like my dad did. With his limited education, I have more education than my dad could ever dream of having. Right? My dad didn't finish high school, but he worked his ass off. I've been to university, I have a degree and all that stuff, you know. I can support myself and stuff, but I'm not at that pinnacle of success that I strive for, where I want to be. And, you know, I don't even want to become successful for financial, you know, like for material things, I should say. I want to be financially independent, but I'm not striving for material things like, oh, I want the Mercedes and I want the Rolex watch and all that stuff. That's irrelevant. Those things mean nothing. They're just material things. Those things are no different from this bottle of water. It's just something. The reason why I work my ass off, the reason why I want to be financially independent is because I truly want to live off the grid. I want to have enough money where I can go buy a whole bunch of acres somewhere out in the countryside somewhere and live off the land with enough money in the bank where if I want to travel somewhere, I can go travel when it suits me. I don't have to punch a clock. My family is safe, my family are secure. I can raise animals on my land, I can grow my own food and live off the grid, because right now in 2018 how things are, and I know it's gonna get worse, I can't deal with this bullshit that we have to deal with in modern society. The political correctness, the walking on eggshells, you know, your friends and family hating you for just having a different opinion. I just want to walk away from all of that. That's why I'm working my ass off. Of course, I probably want to live in a nice house, because I want to live in one of those houses that, you know, the water from the bath is used to flush the toilets, solar panels and this, that and the other. I'm selling electricity back to the grid because of my solar panels and, you know, that type of stuff. I want to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining. And that's why I work hard. Not for material things. I want my family, the people I love, the people I hold close to my heart, who are in my heart. I want them to be comfortable through my efforts. I'm telling you, think about it, men. Talking to the men watching this. Don't you feel good inside when you're in a position to go buy your woman something nice, take her shopping, or say to her, baby, I'll pay for you to go get your nails done or your hair done or whatever? Doesn't that make you feel good? For your kids, doesn't it feel good when you know that you have the money there to live in a nicer community that's not crime-ridden? Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't it feel good when you have the money to send your kids to better schools so that they can get a better education, so they can be around the children of usually more like-minded people who are ambitious and strive for success, regardless of their race? Doesn't that feel good? So that's why I work, because I want to protect my family as a man. I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, but that's what I ultimately strive for. That's what I'm ultimately working towards, to be able to be that breadwinner, that head of the family. I can hold my head up high as a man and say, I'm protecting and providing for my family. I'm protecting and providing for the people I love. What's wrong with that? Am I sounding preachy? To some, maybe. Am I sounding offensive? Maybe actually to some people I am sounding very offensive right now, right? How dare he talk about being at the head of his family? How dare he talk about providing? Yeah, believe it or not, but there's some people out there who have this mindset. You know, in these modern times where we live, truth is offensive, right? Truth is the most offensive thing. Free speech is the most offensive thing. You know, I find myself on YouTube more and more just actively searching out YouTubers. As controversial as he is, and I mentioned his name earlier, Tommy Sotomayor, as controversial as he is, despite his sometimes brash delivery, I can totally relate to the dude. Kevin's Corner, a guy I stumbled across recently. I can totally relate to what he's saying, because when he's talking, it's like I'm talking, it's like he's in my mind. I can relate to these people more and more because they embrace more traditional ideas of family. They embrace more the idea of free thinking, not conforming to monolithic thought processes that many black people tend to hold on to. They don't use their race as a crutch, but see themselves beyond their race. These are people that I can relate to, and it's safe to say that I need new friends. Can't change your family, but you can certainly distance yourself. You can certainly alienate some. But I need to be around more like-minded people who I can connect with, man, because, man, at the current rate, do you know why I'm doing this video? Or this series of videos? I'm doing this series of videos because I feel like if I don't speak my mind, I'm going to go crazy. A lot of what I'm saying to you now is some of the stuff that I'll say to myself, not just in my mind, but actually driving and saying it to myself out loud. And this is just me expressing myself and saying how I feel about some things in a time when free thought and just expressing yourself is frowned upon. But I will not conform. I will not walk on eggshells to please people. I am not a people pleaser. Some people may be offended by my words, but some people will completely relate to what I'm saying. You are the type of people that I want to be around. Like-minded, progressive, like real progressive. We're not talking about this fake liberal progressive stuff that as soon as you disagree with them, they want to destroy you. I'm talking about real progressive, a real progressive thought process. These are the type of people I want to be around. Sorry, I haven't eaten. Just been drinking green tea all day. Great antioxidant, people. A gallon a day. But hey, I'm gonna sign off with this video. I think this is number 5. And yeah, I'm gonna edit these videos. I'm gonna put them out there, and I'm going out on a limb. I'm either gonna cause a whole bunch of offense, or the few people that follow me on YouTube are probably gonna just unfollow me, unsubscribe. That so be it. You know what? We were never supposed to be connected in the first place. And I might win a whole bunch of new subscribers. And subscribers, for the most part, the numbers, they don't mean anything to me. But I guess with my mindset and with what I'm saying in these videos, I guess if I did get more subscribers, it would definitely be giving me hope that there are more people out there who can relate to my mindset and way of thinking. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up, people. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Mark, the Tremor Trainer from Tremor Workout. I'm going out on a limb with this series. It's either going to make me or break me. But yeah, let's love each other. Let's learn from each other. Let's not write off everyone just because they have a different opinion. And if we can win minds and hearts with our outlook, then that's what we need to do. It's our responsibility as men, and when I say men, I say humans. It's our responsibility to uplift and enlighten, and as a matter of fact, inspire others to do better and to be better men and women. All right, so thanks for watching. Sounding preachy. And the Lord said. But thanks for watching, guys. This is Mark signing off. You take care. Peace and love from the heart. All right, you be good. See you. Bye.